everybody. Welcome to Melody Mondays. This is your artist interview segment. This week, we are sitting down with Nadjah Nicole and her husband, Ismail. Now, Nadjah Nicole is an amazing singer, songwriter, vocalist. You might even recognize her face. She was a finalist on The Voice. Now, she's taking this new avenue in her career as a TV personnel. She's DETV's co-host for Good Morning Wilmington. Now, her husband, Ismail, he's a musician, a producer, not shy on musicianship at all. I mean, he's worked with Grammy-nominated artist Tierra Whack, and he is also venturing out into new avenues in his career, doing photography and videography. So, amazing artist all around. Here we are. We're just going to dive right into it. We have Nadjah, Nicole, and Ismail here with us. So let's just get ready to welcome them in. So as they're coming in before, this is an open forum. So I do want everybody to feel free to drop your comments, your reactions, questions you have down below. We will share them and we will read them, hear them. So glad to have everybody here. Welcome back. Yay.
Good to be back.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad. So just real quick, everybody, can we get like a audio check real quick? Make sure we're fine.
I know. Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Mic check 1 2 1 2, please, real quick. So yeah, I'm definitely so glad to have you guys all here with us. Oh wait, hold up. Yeah, so this is being filmed in front of a live studio audience that consists solely of my 4-year-old daughter.
It's okay. The twins are in the other room losing their minds, so it's okay.
It's cool. I think it's so beautiful that you two are blessed with twins. Like, that's absolutely amazing. You know, being a twin myself is going to be so much fun. Yeah. It's going to be so much fun. Like, you're literally talking about being born with a best friend partner. So where should we begin? Should we start from the beginning?
Yeah, let's start.
Does it start all the way over? Okay. Just from scratch. Okay, so yes. So, like I said from the very beginning, like before we even dive into this wonderful music that these two individuals share together and individually, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Black love here because I feel like it is underrated. It's not proliferated in our community as it needs to be as much. You know, this union of women and men together, that's a pillar of our community because that is where we see the glorification of God in creation. It's the only way we're able to create life and breathe life back into our community, like physically. And like you're here, you're shaping the minds of a next generation. So I'm so happy to have you guys here with me. Just from the beginning, focusing on that Black love, like I said, can you share with the audience again how you two met and like whether or not, you know, your individual interests for music played a role in that romance?
Yes. So I was saying that we have a mutual mentor who we were both seeing at the same time. And I was looking for a new guitar player, and he recommended Ismail. But it took months for us to actually meet each other because of just miscommunication. So when we finally met, we met at what used to be a Chili's in University City. And me and my dad met him, and we did like a whole business interview. And Ismail rode up with his guitar on his back on his bike. And he had his king knit hat on, and I was like, he has a big head. And but we fell in love with him that night because he played Al Green.
Al Green.
Al Green.
Yeah. Okay, good
dad,
choice.
Yes, my dad was smitten. He was like, that's it. You good. We got you.
Oh, man, so that's great. So your dad loved him from the beginning. That's awesome. Yeah. That's beautiful. So, Ismail, what was going through your mind during this interview process? Were they hitting you with some serious questions? Were you nervous? Were you struck by her beauty?
Well, the funny thing is this. When I walked in and I said, hey, I'm trying to meet two people here. And then the hostess said, oh, yeah, you mean the two bald Chinese people in the corner. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, I was bald then.
That's
Oh, you were
I was like,
rocking
I
the
didn't know
shirt.
they were
That hey, you were
Chinese.
killing it. It looked so fly.
Thank you.
No, but yeah, I was just you know, kind of rolling with the punches. I didn't know what to expect. I had never been on like an interview to, you know, get a gig at that point. Like, so yeah.
That's cool. It's amazing because like it's like fate has it. You know, and it's so beautiful because you have something so like intertwined and then it spawns into this like beautiful relationship and now you guys are married with twins. So like naturally I had to ask because you know everyone's on IG asking what Sierra prayed to get Russell. You know what I mean? Like what was that prayer? You know,
Right.
we all want to know like what kind of divine intervention, you know, steps into these people's lives where they just get matched with their husband and their wife, you know? So like you two, what was your, like, how did your individual role, your walk with God, your spiritual place where you were at play out in your relationship to bring you where you are here today?
For me, it was a lot of prayer, a lot of figuring out who I was as a woman, as an artist, because I always felt like I wasn't good enough with my partners prior. And I was always searching for that person that was going to accept me for who I was, you know, and I also needed to figure out who I was. So I needed someone who was going to accept me on my journey, you know,
Right.
and it was a pleasant surprise to meet him because he was literally my best friend. He accepted me.
That is so beautiful. And that's so important when it comes to love, knowing yourself, you know? Because like I said before, it's like if you're like, you know, trying to enter a relationship with someone and you want to love someone and have that somebody love you back, you need to know, what do you even have to love? What am I asking this person to love, you know?
Yes.
You have to love yourself personally, you know?
Yes.
So like you said, you did a lot of praying. I feel like unless you're really in tune with God, because God created us, so he knows us better than we know ourselves, you know what I mean? And he can reveal those different layers of our own personality to ourselves. So unless you're really in tune with love being God, is like, that's the only way you're really going to reach that like real intimate divine love. But like, what about you, Ishmael? How did it play out?
I for me, I was really looking for somebody who felt like home. You know what I'm saying? And that was just Nadjah. I mean, after we met, like we really did become best friends, and we would just call and check on each other, you know, and just have real conversation.
Yeah.
And it just felt right. I mean,
that authenticity.
Yes.
That's beautiful. I feel like that's such like a neglected part in relationships that everyone has this like idea of who they want to be, who they want the other person to perceive them as, but really just being raw and authentic with that person. Like you said, having somebody accept you for who you are. And then like Ishmael, the way you put that is beautiful. Like looking for like home, like anchor. What does it feel right? Like, is it genuine? Like, you know what I mean? So that is absolutely beautiful. So like, you know, through it all, through this like amazing journey of ups and downs, because you guys are very transparent with your lives, like the things you go through, and like I definitely commend you on that, because I feel like it offers a certain level of like strength to, you know, what it is you're able to achieve when you're able to say like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, this is how I'm dealing with it out in the open. But like amongst all that and keeping the love in the center, how has your individual concept of love, like how has it changed? How has it evolved? Even from like dating to now being married?
Well, it's funny. We kind of talked about this, I think this morning or the day before, that my understanding of love was what people told me it should be. And for so long, I held on to what other people told me it should be, what I saw in movies, what I saw my parents and my grandparents do, what couples in high school and college did. So when it came down to really understanding
Oh, you guys are frozen there for a second.
Can you see us now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So when it came to understanding my love and how he receives love, I had to really think about, like, what does that mean? You know,
Right.
what does that shape look like? Because it's not what anyone else says it is. So
Right.
it took a lot of compromise. It took a lot of patience and understanding and vulnerability. A lot of vulnerability.
I can only imagine.
Yes, we've been through some stuff. So, and be honest, being honest. You know, a lot of people are so afraid of honesty. So we just did it.
Yeah.
We stepped right in.
Right. I feel like the honesty is so important because I was just having a conversation with somebody about this. Like, does love lie? Because I feel like in today's dating scene, you have this idea like, oh, like, I didn't want to tell you the truth because the truth would have hurt you, and I don't want to hurt you. And at the end of the day, if you're able to step into those lines of deception, you know,
Right.
you are actually hurting somebody just by deceiving them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like love is truth, you know, being
Yes.
vulnerable. And you're neglecting yourself because if you're not being honest with somebody, then you're not even allowing that person to love you fully because you're not even fully opening yourself up to them.
Right.
So that's beautiful.
So
So yeah,
let's go with what everyone he gets on me because I'm so dedicated to tradition at times. I'm like, no, we're gonna do it this way because of whatever reason. But he's like, no, we're gonna, you know, set our own path. We're gonna create our own story. And he holds on to that. So I have to always take a step back and kind of breathe through the changes of what I told myself life was going to be like because of what everyone else told. So it's really him being supportive in those moments where I'm like, I need to reprocess. Hold on.
That's absolutely beautiful. What about you, Ishmael? How has love like changed and evolved for you during this process?
For me, I learned that I could be, well, I guess you said it. I could be vulnerable. I didn't have to be strong all the time. I didn't have to try to be strong. I didn't have to fake the funk. And that love is accepting people for all that they are, in every way that they can be, you know, good, bad, ugly, scary. Excuse me. And that, like, you know, love, true love is unconditional. It's giving 100% when your partner can't give anything.
And we've been there.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, you know, even at times 110, 150%, you know, when they hate you and they're open about it, like, hey, I hate you right now. I don't want to talk to you. You know, you just gotta be able to take that and just, like, you know, redirect it into, like, you know, positive energy. And
that's very real. I feel like that's a side of love that, like, you don't hear discussed much. You know, usually we just talk about like the fuzzies and the warm feelings, but like to me it all comes full circle because as I'm listening to this and we're talking about love and, like, you know, really just love being God and God being love and, like, God being manifested, you know, and you guys coming together, you guys created, you know, a beautiful family. And my thing is, like, the way you're talking about loving unconditionally is the same way that God loves us. Because sometimes, you know, we're all over the place, but, you know, he pulls us through and he's pulled you through some, like, amazing things. Like, I know, like, Nadjah, you deal with a difficult pregnancy. You guys both, like, had a car crash. And I was hurt. When I seen you guys posted that, I was like, no, like, please tell me you guys are okay. I definitely felt that because I was, you know, I was wanting you guys to be okay. But you know, through it all, like, you know, experiencing all this change and this transparency and, like, you know, even, you know, I'm starting a family and marriage. How, as an artist, like, just getting into the music, how as an artist, how do you engage all of this into your artistry? Like,
That's a good question.
Yeah. Ooh.
I think that that's a second by second process. Like,
Yeah.
you have to like be willing to constantly adapt, and also like know this can sound contradictory, but also know what works and stick to it. So if that makes any sense, like
No, wait,
adapt to
what?
make what works work. If that,
What works.
yeah.
Right, I get it. Except for like you have to, it's like learning something completely new, like probably learning producing while you're like tending to, you know, two newborn twins. Like that has to be like a complete different realm. I saw this beautiful photo of you guys online where I guess you were like leaving, or maybe probably leaving a concert or performance, and you guys were putting your twins into the stroller. And just that presence of like, I'm still a family, I'm still a mother, I'm still a father, and I'm still a musician, I'm still an artist. Having that family so present during that whole entire time, it was just absolutely beautiful. But like,
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't want to cut you off. Like, Nadjah, did you have something to add to that? Like how, you know, these life experience, like how, you know, it's, you know, just it evolved your artistry?
Yeah. I would say that, okay, one of the twins is screaming, so he's gonna go get it, get the twin.
I'm not kidding.
But I would say that I always sang love songs growing up, and I now feel like I sing life songs, you know, because I feel like there's more to what we go through in life than just love. So I'm going to sing about my depression. I'm going to sing about being broke. I actually have a song called I Ain't Broke.
Really? I have to hear that.
Yes, it's going to be on my new album. I want to talk about, you know, things that you wouldn't necessarily hear in a song, but you would want to listen to this song because of the experiences you've been into, you know? So, when you've lived a little, you can talk about a little, you know?
Right. Yes. Yeah, I know, because I definitely have seen that same vulnerability in your last song, the project you and Ishmael did together.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't like to curse, so I'm just gonna say I feel like Ish. But no, first of all, the vocals on there are completely like beyond me. Like they're like blowing my mind, amazing. Like this vocal range you have, even in like your U47 commercial, it's like, it's majestic. It simply is.
You did your homework. Oh my gosh.
I tried.
Thank you. That song is actually that's my baby. I wrote that song when I think the twins were maybe 6 months, and my son was still on oxygen, and I was so tired. And Ishmael was tired. And I wrote the song, and we tried to record it, and it just wouldn't work. And he went to work. And I went in our studio room, and I sang the mess out of that song until I cried. And I just broke down in tears. And I was like, okay, we can record it now.
You had to like be in touch with it. You had to feel it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was an experience. I'd never written a song like that before.
It is crazy because it is so emotionally vulnerable. You can feel it. Like with that being said, like you guys working together, how has like your relationship, how has that like redirected or evolved your music individually? Like what is a role you guys play with like each other's like music career together and individually, like in terms of the direction you guys take?
So I'll answer the first question. Interestingly enough, we've had some bumps in the road with our relationship because we fell in love through music. But as we got older and we experienced life, we started to drift musically. So he started to produce and was playing less guitar, and I was singing more, and I was only accustomed to doing one style of writing, one style of production. And it started, like, we started growing apart, and it became painful because it was like, I want to write the song like this, like we used to. And he's like, well, I'm past that now.
Oh, wow.
So it took a little bit for us to kind of get back in the groove. And then it turned into him going to school for music. And I'm still kind of stagnant. And it just was hard. hard to kind of get back together. And now we're finally able to mesh a little bit more. But it was hard. It was really beautiful. Hard as time went on.
That is beautiful. What do you think was that defining factor that helped you guys mesh, like meet at that same level?
I'm back.
Just keep working at it. Just keep talking and talking about our feelings and how he made me feel and how I made him feel, and just working together constantly to get past it.
Right. Yeah, it's like Ishmael said earlier, like love is something that takes work. Something you have to work at constantly. That is very true. Welcome back, Ishmael. Welcome.
Amazing. Yeah.
Welcome back. Just to like throw you in the loop real quick, I was asking Nadjah how y'all's relationship gave, like, what role did your relationship take in like giving direction to each other's musical career path? And like, you know, what was the influence like, and what was the direction like from the two of you together and individually?
Well, I know for me, a lot of like what I have attempted to accomplish and have accomplished, I owe it to Nadjah, because I would not have. Oh, surprise! So like, I wouldn't have even like started producing if I didn't think, oh, I could produce a song for my wife, or you know, Beyonce at the time. You know, and now I'm doing film, and I have the same thought. Like, man, I can produce high quality music videos.
Yeah.
Somebody's yelling.
Just let them yell.
Okay. I can produce music videos, you know, at a high quality for my wife, you know. So yeah, I mean, I take steps to like try to make the road easier creatively for her and for me.
That's absolutely beautiful. To comment off of that, I saw the video you did for Zim. Absolutely amazing. It was like the angles, you were hitting it with the angles, like showing these intimate moments, you know, without it being invasive, without it being like awkward. It was like the perfect amount of stillness and movement at the same time. So like you obviously have like an artistry and craft for that. Like, very awesome. But just like, I'm curious, as a producer, like you're producing now, how many instruments do you play? Because you have videos where you've got the keyboard going and the guitar and like, you know, the little I don't know what it's called, little beatbox thing.
Honestly, the only instruments I can claim to play well enough to get paid to do is guitar and bass. Keyboard, you know, I know what I'm looking at and I know how to do it, but ask me to do it, you know, at a show, real time, and you know, I'm fired.
Yeah, okay, I can understand that. That's cool. And just like, you know, while we're talking about music and this evolution of music, I did want to like, I don't want to make you feel like too much on the spot, but Nadjah, I did want to ask, like, you know, you took this 2-year break from like singing, and I'm a writer. I went through a point where I like probably didn't write for over a year too. And for me, it's because like that intimacy I felt like was taken advantage of. I'll just say that, you know what I mean? I feel like it wasn't respected. So that's more so why I like, you know, pulled off, and then like re-entering the process of creating again. I feel like it's completely different. Like you have to reconnect with all these different elements of your artistry where you are now. So I'm curious, like this new Nadjah from the Nadjah we've seen on The Voice.
Tell her the man is getting fat in the movie.
Okay. How has that Nadjah from like, you know, 2 years ago, from like The Voice and everything, and you know, prior to the car accident, how is she different? And how is she the same now? Like, are you rebranding, or is it like a continuation of your old self? Like, just give us some insight into that.
I'm definitely rebranding. I'm always gonna be me, but I'm older now. I've lived a bit. And when I took that year off, it was so I wouldn't die because my pregnancy was so difficult. We were literally, every day we were scared that I was going to go or my twins were going to go. So I took that year to focus solely on my health and the health of the baby. And through that, I learned a lot about our relationship. I learned a lot about my relationship with my family and friends, and my relationship with myself. So you're gonna see a more vulnerable Nadjah. I'm gonna speak out more.
Okay.
I do cuss. So you may hear that. But I'm ready to step in, as Beyonce says, step out my estimate, step into my essence, and know that I'm excellent.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm gonna be a lot more confident and start to own who I am.
That's absolutely beautiful. That really is. I'm glad to hear that. I'm definitely looking forward to this new chapter. That, like you said, it's just an extenuation of yourself, because we are constantly evolving, you know. Yeah. I couldn't possibly expect you to be the same person you were like 3 years ago.
Yes.
4 years ago, you know what I mean? I mean, some people are, but, you know, just that growth, you know, that speaks measures into your own life, you know, how it is you're dealing with your circumstances and growing and evolving. So, like, I don't know, just to kind of maybe flip that for you, Ishmael, since you're just popping in and out, you know.
I'm so
I'm
sorry.
just going to pop you right back in here.
It's them kids, the bad kids.
It's all good. Listen, I, for one, I'm not anyone who's definitely going to make that, like, take away from, like, what you guys got going on, because I think family is so important. I feel like our society, you know, they want to push family to the back burner, you know, even with our whole culture. It's like, I go out and like probably like 7 out of the 10 people there all have children, but literally everyone's got their babysitter, so they can just, you know, leave their family behind instead of just coming together and enjoying that family unit together. I feel like you definitely put family back in the forefront. So please, for no need to apologize for checking on children. I'm glad they're good. How old are they now?
They'll be
3 in August. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, that's beautiful. So yeah, so I was talking to Nadjah and I was asking her basically how that, you know, what this new Nadjah looks like that we're seeing after, you know, her re-entering her music career and everything like that. And for you, like, when you're like in this transition that you're taking, you guys are both taking new directions in your creative artistry process. But like, I'll start with you, Ishmael. How has that like, you know, developed your character? What is it like? What are we seeing different? Like, how would you describe like your transition or your evolution as an artist from then to now? What are we gonna see that's different?
For me, I'm. It's kind of the same as like, you know, me in a relationship. Like I'm trying to be less all over the place here, and I'm trying to just reel it in and be. That's a good question, because I don't know how to physically say the answer the correct way. I don't know.
That's cool. Well, yeah. Let me ask you this real quick, because I'm curious, because like you said, you do a lot. What are your influences as a producer, like in terms of your sound and everything? Music production?
So as far as music production is concerned, honestly, I'm more of a technician. Like I like sound design, and I like that type of stuff. And I'm kind of more of the type where if I hear something, I'll just kind of remake it and do my take on it. Or if someone brings a song to me, I'll draw from whatever I know and make that song sound as close to like what's already out there. Like I don't even know that my influences play a role in the music production, to be honest.
He's moved by soul.
Oh! I was going to introduce her, but she just popped in. I was going to say, so my sister just joined me.
Hey,
hi guys. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I if I could interject, my husband is moved by people who are moved by music. So if you are a country artist and you are moved by your country songs and you bring it to him and you tell him what you want and you have that passion, he's got it. If you have a rock song or a hip hop song and you're moved by it, he is moved by passion. He creates off of he creates off of the the energy of other people. So if you come into the studio, you don't know what you want to do, you don't know where you want to go, who you want to be, he'll help you, but it's going to be harder for him because he's a feeler. He's a feeling kind of guy. He always has been. And that's why when his songs do come out, there's always the soul in the song is Ish. No matter who is singing the song or rapping on the song, the soul of it is
going to be there.
Yeah.
I love that you could answer that for him and seeing that perspective in him, that he didn't even know how to like put together himself. That was so beautiful.
Yeah, she's seeing me go crazy.
Oh, that's amazing.
Create music.
That's amazing, not locking yourself into like one genre like that. I was going to ask you, and I wanted to be on in the beginning part of everything, but you know, time management was a little tied up there with work. But
you're here
go
now.
back to what you're saying.
Yes.
Some of the music that's out now, or even like, you know, some old school, whatever, what are you drawing inspiration from? Like, who are some of your favorite artists that are out right now? Like, who are you looking at?
Me or her or both?
Both.
You want to answer first?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so it's funny because this is gonna seem off topic, but I'm gonna wrap it back. I'm gonna bring it back.
Okay.
So there was a post on Instagram about I think it was Chloe Bailey and how she was being sexual and, you know, showing her femininity and all that. And they were like, it is normal for a young woman to explore her sexuality and her sensual side at a certain age, because she has to figure out what it is that she wants to do and how she wants to feel and who she wants to be with. And a lot of women aren't able to do that, right? So you end up having a lot of women who are kind of lost in the sauce when they get in their 20s, because they have people around them who don't give them good advice, and they don't feel like they can talk to anyone. Well, with music, I was such a prude. I was such a prude, and I was like, no, I ain't doing no R&B. I'm not doing no hip hop. I'm strictly neo soul. I don't want to hear nothing new. Turn that radio off. But it was mostly because I was afraid of who I truly was. And I was afraid of finding out who that girl was, you know? So I now have been opening up to listening to modern artists and exploring the sounds that they're exploring. Like, I listen to Kalani now. I listen to Meg the Stallion. Like an old lady, I swear. But for
I'm
me,
the same way. I can't judge you.
Listen, I put on my playlist and I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's do this. Migos.
It's funny.
Yes.
It's funny that you speak about, like, you know, kind of just getting stuck in this one gap, like, you're not listening to new music, because I went through that myself. But from my standpoint, it was being so overly cognizant of what it was I was ingesting. You know what I mean?
Yes.
No, because I feel like, no, obviously we care about what we're putting in on our plate, some of us. But not enough is like, you know, how does like what we feed to our inner self is like, you know, reflecting us. Like, even one thing I've been extremely fascinated by recently is like how sound waves can, like, you know, manipulate water. You know what I mean? The visualization of sound waves and us being beings of water. You know what I mean? So if you think that you're listening to something and it doesn't have an impact on you, it's like, well, just let's consider the science of it, because, you know, obviously it is. So, I mean, with that being said, I feel like, you know, as a creative, as like, there's like a huge onus on what it is that you're reflecting into the community, you know, what your image is, you know, what you're portraying, and basically, like I said, how you're shaping those around you, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, what are some of like what do you guys want to portray? Like, what is it that you guys are looking to reflect into?
Well, I guess the best way, like, what do you want your art to say?
Yes, what do you want your art to say?
Yeah.
That anything is possible.
Yeah.
And anybody can, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because I know for me, I grew up not really listening to music, you know? Like, my mom played sometimes.
Oh.
I know,
but
right? This is blowing my mind.
Actually deaf.
This is blowing my mind.
You know, I didn't really listen to music. I just kind of, you know, played video games and watched Dragon Ball Z and did stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it was when I was like 12 or 13 that I actually started listening to music and getting into it. And then I started playing guitar at 14 and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm on a tangent. Where we at?
No, go ahead.
We wanna feel
all of
good.
it.
We wanna
So,
feel good.
in saying that, what music did you first gravitate towards? I know she kind of answered the question, but like, you know, the music she's listening to now and everything. But like, who are some artists like on that board for you?
So when I first started listening to music, I started listening to what my brothers were listening to. I got 3 older brothers, and they were all listening to, like, you know, trap music, but like, you know, street hip hop, like Cassidy and you know, Young Jeezy and Biggie and Pac, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, but it didn't really resonate with me. And then I started listening to like emo music, you know, just because like I didn't know what.
So
I
what
liked.
music?
Emo music, like Papa Roach and like Panic at the Disco and like, you know, all these weird like all these, and it was cool because I was, you know, 13 and that's just what we were doing at 13.
Oh, don't play. He still listen. Some days I come in and he doing the dishes and he listening to his Panic at the Disco. Honey.
Or she called you out? She called
It's
you out.
okay. It's okay. She's not wrong, and I'm
He
not.
like,
really
I haven't heard this song in years.
But I mean, but now I like just kind of anything that feels good. Like I listen to, for a good portion of the past 15 years, I listen to a lot of John Mayer. I listen to a lot of D'Angelo.
Yeah.
I listen to nowadays I really listen to just like what's on the charts and just try to dissect it and like see what concepts people are using. Like
Everything's a puzzle to him. Like he's constantly looking to see how the pieces fit when he's listening to music, and he does it with movies now too because he's in film school. So it's like,
As I
it's
guess
not
that's part
just
of being
this-
an engineer.
Yeah.
The mind of an engineer. You're putting everything together. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. As long as don't ruin the movies for everyone. Like that, you guys just dissect it way too much. Do you ruin the movies? Does he ruin the movies?
I have in the past. I'm trying not to. I have before, but I mean, I'm just trying to learn how to speak the language, honestly, and that's all that is.
Usually I fall asleep, so that I ruin it.
Whatever. Yeah, so honestly, it's beautiful sharing this insight with you guys. Like, this conversation has been so evolving, and I love all the different aspects that I didn't even intend on, like, you know, being in this conversation. You guys have like bought into the conversation. Like, it's so beautiful. Like I don't want to neglect these new aspects and these new mediums that you guys are entering. So I do want to ask you, like, real quick, like, what do you think are some of the stigmas, challenges, barriers, or things that you are like overcoming or like dealing with, confronting, that, like, you know, it's like really kind of while you're diving into these new mediums, especially like, because like I know Ismail, you shared something in the past about like, what was like possibility or something about two things being the same side of a coin. Can you say that again?
Oh, you know,
it was like
going in and out. I don't know.
Like possibility and like limitations both being the same side of the coin.
Oh yeah. What was that? Limitation. I mean, that's the gist of it. Yeah, that limitation and possibility are two sides of the same coin. That's
two sides of the same coin, right? Yeah. So like, how does that like play in like your new, like, you know, ventures and these new mediums you guys are exploring?
Well, it's a reminder, because, you know, anything that you feel like is holding you back, and for me, like, you know, with film, like I look at everything that I can't do, and then like I say, wow, so what can I do? You know? Okay. And I look for a way to accomplish whatever it is that I'm attempting, you know, alternatively, or something that like suits me better. So
Right. So like making your own way, like your own path and what it is, like figuring out why I can't do this, but I'm gonna pave my own way in the direction I do know.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about you, Nadjah? How would you say? Because I mean, you're like very like face forward. Like I feel like it has to be like a lot of, I don't know if pressure's it, but just like, you know, your image is constantly, you know, just being at right in front of the camera. You know what I mean? Like, so you're very present. I feel like you're constantly in that position. You have an opportunity to mold who you are, what your influence is, like constantly. But so like, what are some of those, like, you know, like stigmas, especially cultural stigmas and everything, and just challenges, or just like, you know, how are you paving that way for yourself in that field as a TV personnel? Because you are now, I don't know if I said this, you are now co-hosting Good Morning Wilmington, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think the first thing is, even though people have dreams for me, it may not be my dream. And that was really hard to understand and to kind of comprehend when I was younger. Hi. It was really hard for me to separate who everyone wanted me to be and who I wanted to be. So now I'm taking the time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sweetie. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Now I've been taking the time to try out everything that I want to do for me, because it's my life, it's my talent, it's my face, it's my voice. And when I can take the reins and test things out, if I fall down, I can still get back up, you know? And also it's fighting fear, because for a long time, I was terrified of success. I was terrified of being not vulnerable, but being out, you know, allowing people in.
Right.
So this was a way for me to, you know, write real music and to speak to people and have real conversations. So this career path for me is really just a test to get me to step out.
Wow, that's beautiful. I want to like crunch in like 3 last questions before like our time runs out. Real quick. So like, you know, in these different journeys, you know, you guys are both amazing artists, and I'm pretty sure like there's plenty of people out there who would love to work with you. What are some of like, what is it you look for in like deciphering who it is you work with? And like where you find yourself, like what is it, like what are your qualifications, what are you looking for? And like even like, you know, now I guess I like to acknowledge the spirituality of each individual, because I feel like it plays an important role in how we move. How does that all, like, you know, your walk with God and everything, how does that define what rooms you find yourself in, and what people you choose to engage with, what projects you take on?
Yeah. If I may.
You may.
I feel I'm very connected with God. I pray every day, and I'm constantly praying for other people, but I also pray for him to reveal to me the people I don't need to be around.
Yeah.
So, and
accepting that can be hard sometimes. I didn't mean to
yes.
but like,
oh yes,
because I've been there too.
Yes. So I have been I've made it a point to let people know from the jump, my family comes first, no matter what. So we may have a session, I may have a gig, or I don't know, we're supposed to meet up to write, but if my child is sick, my man is sick, I'm sorry, honey, I got to go.
Let them know. I love it.
Yes.
What about you, Ismail?
Can you say the question again?
I knew that was coming.
I'll get so caught up in the answer, but I'm
coming.
just like, oh, no.
So the question was like, you know, somebody who wants to work with you, like, what are your qualifications? What is it? Like, how does, you know, what is it? And even in your spiritual being that, you know, determines what rooms you walk in, who you work with, you know, what projects you engage and don't engage.
Well, on a strictly like, no, there's no strictly anything, honestly. I can't be that closed-minded. for one, it's how willing they are to communicate anything, honestly. Like if they have a budget, if they don't have a budget, like if they are dealing with something personally, excuse me, because that all plays a role in like what we create.
Yeah, true.
Right.
Yeah. So like, you know, it's really about communication. That's the biggest thing. Because like I can work with anybody if they're honest, and I think that's the biggest thing. Be honest about like who you are, what you're dealing with, and what you're trying to do, and then like, you know, have a sense of integrity so that, you know, you fulfill the things that you say you're going to fulfill when it comes to our relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that part is more so on the business side. You know?
That is very true. Two things, just listening to you say that, two things came to my mind. One, my mother would tell me that my grandfather, very successful businessman, used to say, don't do business with somebody if you wouldn't marry them. And that has to be heavy, but like literally considering like, as like the person, like you're saying, talking about the person, you know, what it is that, you know, they're communicating to you, where they're at and everything, considering that whole person and when you're doing business with them, you know. And the second thing is me personally, I've said like and this isn't to, you know, throw shots at anybody, but me personally is like, I couldn't work with somebody who claims to be atheist because, you know, if you're an atheist, first of all, God sets the standards for what's good and what's not. If you're atheist, you don't believe in anything, I don't have anything to hold you by. I don't have any like moral compass, integrity to like pin you to, you know what I mean? Because for you, anything goes. And the cartoon that my daughter is watching is hilarious now, as you can tell.
But you're right. You're right. If you don't believe in anything, what is it? If you don't
if you
believe,
don't stand for something,
you'll fall for anything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a little scary to me. So
exactly, right? So those are all things to consider, like in this. And like, I'm worried my phone is gonna die soon. But like, really fast. What do you guys want to leave your audience with? You know, what is it, like projects coming out? You know, what is it you want to say, leave the audience with?
It starts with one step forward. That's it. No matter what you want to do in life, you'll never get there if you don't take that first step. Like, I think Will Smith was the one who had the analogy of the doorway, and the fear was the threshold. All you had to do was step over the threshold to get to the other side of life. But you're still on the opposite end because you won't step over your fear.
Right.
It's hard, but once you do that, your world is going to change. I left a full-time job with benefits to do what I'm doing now, and I have never been happier. Never been happier. Now, I'm not saying go leave your job, but what I am saying is when you follow your heart, trust in God, and you're taking the steps in the right direction and carrying the tools and utilizing them, God got you.
Amen. Amen.
And
Praise the Lord. I love to say that. God got me. That's my favorite slogan. What about you, Ishmael? What do you want to leave the people with?
Where there's a will, there's a way. I literally I exist by that. And you don't have to know how, just know why.
Yes.
And move.
Yes.
Right. That is very important. That is beautiful. I want to thank you guys both for coming on here and, you know, being open with me, sharing some raw, intimate details into your life and like some things that we can all grow from. And like, I personally cherish this moment that you guys have chose to engage with me. I'm so happy. So I do want to make sure I send some blessings your way as well.
Mama,
So
I don't like to go out.
okay.
That's why I did this.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't like myself.
I know. So I do want to share some blessings with you your way. So feel free to check out our website, Imperial Morale, and I'm going to be gifting you guys both some items from there. Just to say thank you. And I'd love to see you guys welcome because you guys are beautiful.
Likewise, girl. Listen, you and your sister and your baby. Oh
Thank
my
you,
God.
love. Thank you. Once again, yeah, thank you for sharing this moment with us. You guys have a blessed day. And I hope everyone that tuned in, you guys continue to be blessed. And thank you guys so much for joining us. This was our Melody Monday segment with Imperial Morale. I'm Izzo Jordan. And you guys have a blessed day. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.